I'll be working with the equation 302 minus 197. 302 is called the minuend, 197 is referred to as the subtrahend, and our answer is referred to as the difference. So we'll be working with the method called front-end estimation, keeping in mind that 302 is our minuend and 197 is our subtrahend. We're going to take the front numbers of both of those two numbers, so 3 and 1 that I'm circling here. So we're going to change the minuend to 300 and the subtrahend to 100, and the difference will become 200. 200 will be considered a high estimate. The reason for this is because 302, our minuend, has only changed by 2 in place value, but our subtrahend 197 has changed by 97 in place value, decreasing the amount that's being taken away. So here we have our concrete model with base 10 blocks. On the top we have 3 hundreds to represent 300. We have 0 tens to represent 0, and 2 ones to represent 2 for 302, our minuend. And on the bottom we have 100, 9 tens, and 7 ones to represent our subtrahend 197. So we're going to start with the ones. So you see we have 2 on the top and 7 on the bottom. We know we can't take 7 away from 2, so we're going to move to the tens. There's no tens, so we move to the hundreds. We're going to trade a hundreds flat for 10 tens. So we now have 10 rods, and we need more of the ones in order to subtract 7, so we're going to trade a tens rod for 10 ones. So we now have 12 ones on the top, and we'll have 7 on the bottom, and 12 minus 7 is 5. So we now have 5 ones, and we'll move on to the tens, and we know 9 minus 9 is 0. So we now have 5 ones, 0 tens, and we're going to move on to our hundreds. So there's 2 on the top and 1 on the bottom, as we can see here. And we're going to cancel out 1 on the top and the bottom. And we now have our difference. So 100, 0 tens, and 5 ones for 105. So I'm now going to demonstrate this pictorially and symbolically. I'm first going to draw my hundreds flats. So I have 3 on the top and 1 on the bottom. In my tens column, I have 0 on the top and 9 on the bottom. And in my ones column, I have 2 on the top and 7 on the bottom. Symbolically, I represent this by writing 3 in the hundreds column, 0 in the tens column, and 2 in the ones column for my minuend, 1 in the hundreds column, 9 in the tens column, and 7 in the ones column for my subtrahend. So I'm now going to show what I did with the base 10 blocks pictorially. So I traded a hundreds flat for 10 tens, traded a 10 for 10 ones. Now I'm able to subtract the bottom from the top, so 12 minus 7, and I can show that symbolically. So I now have 2 hundreds, 9 tens, and 12 ones. 12 minus 7 is 5. Now I can remove all my tens because 9 minus 9 will give me 0 tens. And I can take away 1 from the top and the bottom of my hundreds to get 1. I now represent this pictorially with 1 hundreds flat in the hundreds column, 0 tens in the tens column, and 5 ones in the ones column. I'm going to be working with a personal strategy of friendly numbers. Friendly numbers are numbers that are easy to work with, and they're typically multiples of 10. So I'm going to change my subtrahend to a friendlier number. The friendlier number is 200, so I'm going to add 3 to 197. That'll give me 200. Now I'll subtract 200 from my minuend, 302. That will give me 102. So since I increased my subtrahend by 3, I'm going to add 3 to my difference to get the original difference.